Good afternoon and welcome back to the Same Business, Different Day podcast. I want to introduce my co-host again. How are you, Alyssa?
I'm having a really fun day.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Today's guest is a professional, a genuine hard worker, the kind of guy you might see everywhere around town. And if you don't see him yourself, just check his social media and you'll realize that you haven't seen him because he's just moving too fast for you. But it's not all for pleasure. He's really out there getting in touch with his community, taking pride in the businesses and the people in the towns that he calls home. We're glad to be joined today by a pillar in our community, David Zumaya.
Hey, thank you.
You're welcome. How you doing, Dave?
Doing good after that introduction. I got a lot to live up to, man.
I appreciate it, man. And we're glad to have you here.
I had to turn around and see if we're talking about me or somebody else.
Alyssa, won't you tell us the rules?
That's right. We've got rules to this podcast. So we're here talking about business, talking about you, David, but we're going to focus on you first. So we do want to talk about what you do, but we're not going to reveal it just yet. We'll reveal it when it feels right.
Let's talk about your early memories. You remember what you wanted to be when you grew up?
Wow. High school, I wanted to be an electrical engineer.
Okay. That's not fun. I wasn't going to laugh at that. That's awesome.
I love math. I'm a math whiz, man.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So that was growing up. I mean, the whole idea with math is you always try to be the best you can, and electrical engineering falls right into that. So.
Mm-hmm. It's funny. You and I were talking about wineries earlier, and Alyssa, and I was telling her that a lot of our winery owners are biochemists and engineers and all that. A lot of them are math wizards. Isn't that crazy?
Well, math's the foundation of so much.
Yeah.
I mean, look at right now in the marketing world, who's making the money is the statisticians. The guys working the data in marketing. That's where the money's at.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and right now specifically, I mean, you got a lot of people doing polls.
Exactly. Yeah, something's happening on Tuesday, right?
Yeah, right.
So I'm curious though, because not many people in high school go, I want to be an electrical engineer. So like what influenced that? What made you go, wow, I want to do that?
Well, usually like most any kids, I mean, you look at any family members that are successful in one role or another, and you just want to be like them. Okay. So I had an uncle that was an electrical engineer. So, hey, that sounds pretty cool. Didn't know what it did.
Yeah.
I just know I love math and, calculus and geometry, all that stuff. It was like a high. So, we did a little gambling on the side. I don't know if you ever heard this one. So, and this is the best way to learn any subject that you really suck at or you're challenging at. You challenge your people in your class, be college or high school, and you go, hey, everybody put $5 on the table. Whoever gets a high score on the test wins the pot. You learn to study really fast.
Wow.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Where'd you grow up? You grew up in
San Diego, homeboy. I mean, I'm Chula Vista raised, born in Mercy Hospital, and now I'm, of course, in North County.
As business owners, we have to acknowledge that we're not all, self-made. Everybody's had influences somewhere or another, right? Did you have mentors? You mentioned your uncle. Are there other mentors, people in the house, in the neighborhood?
Yeah. No, my uncle was growing up he influenced me to be an electrical engineer. But once I got into high school, and I found that I learned Spanish because I'm not a native Spanish speaker. I grew up in a Spanish-speaking household, but being second generation and the youngest in the household, you don't speak Spanish usually. Mm-hmm. So once I learned how to speak Spanish and found out that you could really do a difference in the community, reaching two different markets, I started getting involved in the Hispanic community. And one of my big mentors turned out to be my godparent for my daughter. So it's Antonino. So he was vice president of Citibank, a great guy. We're still good friends to this day. So he's been my mentor for the longest time.
Really? Yeah. Still to this day?
Still to this day.
That's awesome. What kind of things is he teaching you?
Well, no, he was a business person. He was a banker. But he was a stand-up guy. He was president of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. He knew how to give, raise his family. He was really strong at heart. So being somebody with ethics, your role model should be somebody that could stand up on their own and be very ethical and very, big-hearted. So that's what he was, and he still is to this day. So.
And his word meant something.
Oh, exactly.
That's important too for a mentor, somebody that you want to believe in. They got to be a rock.
Well, exactly. And see, when I met him, that's when I was doing some photography. When I was first starting some photography work, and I would donate and volunteer, and he'd always go, "Hey, David, here's a story." So he'd always coach me through some of that. So it was fantastic.
how about your early job experience? I mean, did you start doing photography early on? I mean, what kind of jobs did you have early?
No, well, I'm old enough, and I don't know how many of your audience was old enough to remember paper routes. So
it's a recurring theme here, actually.
Yeah.
We're talking 1970s skateboard rat, Dogtowns, Tony Alva days. I was in that mix of things, and I was a paperboy. So, I mean, basically, a paperboy is an entrepreneur. You got a route, you deliver the papers, and then at the end of the month, you have to collect the dollars from the people that subscribe, and then you have to go pay your bill.
Yeah.
So,
what was your technique? Like, what was the special thing that you said? Like, I'm a good paperboy because I do this.
No, it was Paperboy.
Okay.
The best thing about Paperboy, and this is the only thing I could continue going down career-wise, the best thing about being a Paperboy is making money. Mm-hmm. And to this date, even in my career, the best thing that happens is when you meet a client and you're selling whatever widget you're selling. I mean, you know this in your industry, is like once that client believes in you so much and they're willing to give you money, that's gold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as long as you can back it up.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's a great feeling because it's basically somebody's accepting you and willing to invest in you, be it selling a piece of gum or a newspaper or selling $1 million property or asset. So
there's some independence there too. Like you said, I mean, you were an entrepreneur for real.
Yeah. I don't want to say I'm a serial entrepreneur because I spent 10 years in banking.
Then, like even as a paper boy, right. You were running your own game.
Oh,
you were doing your own thing.
Doing it. Yeah. And I call myself a born-again conservative because after all those entrepreneurial experiences, I ended up working at a bank.
Okay. So what was the banking industry like?
It was interesting. I was back in. It was completely different
back
world.
In, you get to hang out in the vault. What were you doing?
Well, I was cross street from the vault, but we weren't front of the line customers at the branches. We were dealing with portfolio management and then a call center and doing some system admin. I was a Y2K analyst. There you go. Uh-huh. Yeah. So I mean, I got my hands in a lot of things. Wow. But it was a good career, but I mean, it's not entrepreneurish.
Sure.
It was pretty good. And you get a nice 401k. I admire that. People that could stick it out there. And I wish I would have done that. But then these opportunities I have now wouldn't have happened. Right. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't be interviewing me right now because I'd be behind a desk at a bank.
Yeah. But I'm kind of interested, though. What's a Y2K analyst?
Well, remember Y2K?
I remember.
Yeah. So anyways, I managed around 3 different software applications.
Actually, maybe you should tell us a little bit about Y2K because not everybody might not know.
Well, Y2K is the year 2000. Mm-hmm. So if anybody remembers the year 2000, that everybody thought the world was going to come to an end because of computer glitch. Everybody only used 2-digit numbers for the year. So the computer on New Year's Day didn't know if it was going to be year 2000 or year 1900. So that was the issue. So because of that little glitch, airplanes, banks, everybody had to be compliant to that. So I had to make sure all our applications that I was responsible for managing at the bank were operating in the year 2000. Mm-hmm. So we had simulators and we're just testing and throwing accounts out there, all this portfolio management that we're doing. And we had to make sure that the system would operate on January 1st, 2000. If not, the bank would be shut down. Mm. So that's what I was responsible for. That's what Y2K.
It's just a small responsibility.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing huge.
Stop the world from shutting down. I mean, I haven't seen any movies about that.
Yeah, exactly. I don't even know what the numbers that we're dealing with, but it was a whole lot of money and a whole lot of numbers. And it was interesting. So that was my first, that's what Y2K was at the bank. But it was a good stint. I mean, I really enjoyed having that opportunity to be a vice president of a bank because my friends from college laughed at me. You're a freaking vice president or assistant vice president technically, and working at a bank, that's not my personality.
Yeah.
I call myself very ADHD. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, doing the same thing over and over and over.
You were comfortable with that?
Well, no, I mean, that's not my style.
Okay.
I always was told that I'm too creative. Mm-hmm. That's the thing. I mean, look what we're doing here. I mean, 2 days ago, I wouldn't have been in this room, but here it is today. Mm-hmm. If you worked at a bank, you'd be in the same desk, same office.
Right.
And I admire that. I wish I could have done that. And, if I would have stood there, it would have been fantastic. But, you have this creative juice. And me, I get a big heart to give. And there's only so much you can do behind a desk.
Okay. Okay. So, because I was almost feeling like, you were sounding like you were kind of like an employee by nature, which would be a little different than, a lot of our past guests.
Right.
But you do have that entrepreneurial spirit within you and that creativity, which is important as well.
And so, what they call people like me?
What's that?
Unemployable.
So you got to start your own thing.
Because when you got a job, when you got an applicant and you're hiring for whatever company, and you see somebody with a resume like mine, it's like, I can't hire that guy because your attention span's not going to last. So that's a bad thing. You get so entrepreneurs that you basically work yourself out of ever having a 9-to-5 job.
Established in 2013, Mermaid Valley Vineyard is a boutique winery located in the Ramona Valley AVA. Nestled amongst the mountains just outside of San Diego, Mermaid Valley has abundant sunshine and cooling coastal breezes, making it an ideal location to produce fine wines. We offer estate-produced white, rosé, and red wines. Come out to Ramona and taste the fine wines at Mermaid Valley Vineyards for yourself. Open by appointment at 760-315-9011 or email at mermaidvineyard@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm. Well, tell us more about the photography experience or the other jobs, your artistic jobs.
Yeah, like I said, the photography. I mean, the banking was just a fallout that I had, but photography has been my passion.
Okay.
I photographed from. I was never that yearbook photographer in high school. I took my first photography class at a junior college at Southwestern College. At 18, 19 years old, and dark and white, black and white photo lab and doing all that stuff And again, I won't go all the details, but when you do photography, you meet different people, and you photograph some really attractive people.
Okay,
pretty good thing to do as a single guy.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah. Okay. Don't go into the details. You saw the pause, right?
Yeah, I saw that. I was like,
now you know.
Not that kind of shit.
Yeah. So I was not a National Geographic photographer.
Okay.
So, but it was really enjoyable. But the bad thing in San Diego, not being a New York or Los Angeles, to make money in photography is not easy, especially in the modeling industry. Mm-hmm. I mean, you got to be well connected, and you're never going to make big dollars being just an average photographer.
Okay.
So it lasted for a while, and then that's when I just found a way. Okay, you really can't make money off this thing. I still enjoy it, but you keep it as a hobby. Keep on taking pictures of whatever you take, and then in between there, I ended up working in the grocery industry.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Doing what?
I was a stocker, so I worked at the commissary. I worked in the freezer, walk in the freezer, pull out pallets of Dreyer's ice cream and orange juice and pumpkin pies and stick them on the shelf.
Okay.
And very entrepreneurs because you got paid 25 cents a box.
Okay. So you made as much money as you wanted.
You work as fast as you want, or as quick as you want, or as slow as you want. You still got to get paid the same because the shelf's empty. You only can put so much. So
yeah,
that was my first entrance into a professional world. So
really,
not that was a professional world, but I ended up working for Nabisco. I was a sales rep for Nabisco.
Okay.
So if you eat Oreos, Triple Hoys, Wheatons, all that stuff, I was a sales rep selling that stuff here and all throughout San Diego.
What was your pitch?
No, it's just here I am 20 years old making pitches to managers that are twice my age. And
sure.
I didn't have any sales experience. I just love the product. I mean, if you sell something you love, it's an easy sell.
Yeah.
So I mean, I love Nabisco, was always rated #1, but I can never sell for the #2 company. So when you walk in and you love the product, it's an easy sell because you're not trying to sell somebody. You just go, hey, like what I like. Here's what I got. This is what's so good about it because I eat it.
That's funny. We talk a lot of sales on this show at times, right? And there's the communication, there's various skills that it takes to sell things, but then there's another piece, the piece that you're talking about right now, which is the genuineness. Right? You just believed in the product.
Right.
And because you believed in the product, others wanted to buy it from you.
And that's an easy sell to do.
Uh-huh.
So it's not like you're trying to, how does it call it, a pressure sale.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's an easy sell.
Sure.
As long as you're selling yourself and being genuine, like you said, and the product is up to par, and it's an easy sell because the worst thing you can ever do, in my eyes, the way I was raised, is being very ethical. Don't sell something that you don't believe in. Don't try to take advantage of somebody. There's been plenty of people that have asked me to work for them. I just can't sell something unless I believe in it, and I know it's ethical.
Okay.
Because, I mean, the last thing you want to do is sell something to somebody just because you want to make a buck, and they end up hating you because the product was crap.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't do that.
A lot of people do, though, right?
Well, you got to do what you got to do, right?
Yeah.
You got to, and that's why I'm not rich, I guess. Not yet, right? But, you got your level and your ethics, and, sometimes it's not as lucrative as everything else, but, time will come,
There's a difference between rich and successful because I look at you as a successful business person. And the reason why I say that is because I see you out there. Right. I see what you're doing in the community. I see how businesses react to conversations with you. I've networked with you. Right. And I know that your name is gold when you walk around. And I think that a lot of it does have a lot to do with what you said, ethics.
Well, you got to believe in it. You got to believe in yourself and believe in what you're representing. I mean, I like I said, I'll never be able to work with somebody that I can't respect. You know.
Well, you're doing a good job at it too, because I mean, while I was researching you for this podcast and looking, at your websites and stuff, I was thinking I want to be a part of that. So,
well, the secret of life is you fake it till you make it, right?
Well, you're doing it.
Well, and again, the only people that know where your mistakes are is you yourself. I mean, I could tell you a list of mistakes, but you won't see them because you just keep on going forward. The same thing with photography. I mean, I learned all that through photography. That personality and being a real person and walking in with, being the best you can of yourself and delivering the best product. So that's what photography did teach me.
That's good. That's good. And you learn from the previous experiences.
Right. We're all, it's like that onion. There's only so many different layers.
Yeah. Well, this can be an infinite onion because the business never stops.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, that's what the wonders of digital once you're successful.
I love just the idea of learning from an art form and applying it to the business world. Like you're proud of your art form, but you took it seriously and you really had to dive into it probably. And now it's like you're taking that aspect into what you do now. That's pretty neat.
Well, and it's all goes to me as a hand in hand because, in my photography career, I trained and taught and mentored lots of people. I mean, when I went back and finished my master's degree in my 50s, I went back and taught the same school that I took photography in. And you're seeing a bunch of kids that could have been me. And here I am teaching not photography, because photography is something you could learn in a class, or you could learn by just pushing a button or reading a book. And now with YouTube, you could do everything with photography. But how do you make a business out of it? How do you make a difference to it? So that's what I was blessed to be able to be in front of that class. It's pretty cool. While you were in a school and then you come back and you're a teacher for that same class you took. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. And you've incorporated it into the new business. Let's talk about the new business now. David Zumaya, My San Diego, North County.
Drum roll.
Tell us about My San Diego, North County.
God. Well, I mean, it was a vision that I had. I've been in North County since I think I moved up in 85 from Chula Vista. And then 98, 97, I moved into Escondido. So, and you know this, the business model for individuals that are trying to get more exposure, a chamber of commerce is an easy way to start.
Okay.
Two things that happens when you're trying to develop a brand or get sales out there: join a chamber of commerce or join a networking group.
That's another recurring theme, right?
Yeah. So you got, BNIs, LaTips, T, SBRG. You got so many different networking groups, and then you got the chambers and their elements. So, I mean, I joined the North Business Chamber when I was a photographer still. And then this is right before the bubble burst and digital technology came out. So what happened with photography and digital technology, it basically killed the high-end professional photographer. Unless you're well-established and well-connected, the middle market photography died. So it's either now, and I don't know exactly now because I've been away from it professionally, but you either have high-end photographers or average photographers. I was always pride myself to be an average, mid-price photographer, delivering high quality at an average price. I didn't have to overcharge somebody, but I wasn't cheap. So I'd go do a gig, it's $2,000-$3,000. My competition was $5,000 to $10,000, and then you have the guys doing it for $500 to $100. So that was a world, but the digital killed it. But I still love this passion of these images. And then I joined the chamber as a photographer in North Business Chamber, and then it wasn't the best experience for me because I was still in that transition. But then I joined the Escondido Chamber of Commerce 6-7 years ago. This is when I was already retiring my photography, but I still have a camera. I mean, I got all the gear similar to what you have in this room and then some, and I could do anything with photography. But doing it for a living is not the same anymore. The passion's not there because now everybody's so budget conscious. Everybody has a digital camera on their phone. Everybody could do anything. Why do I have to spend $200 an hour on a photographer where I could do it on my phone?
Sure.
And I agree with them.
Okay.
So I'm not going to try and bust that market. So I found an opportunity after joining the Escondido Chamber. So I was their social media manager. They actually hired me on, contracted me to manage all their social media. At that time is when I was working on my master's degree in internet marketing. So then I found this opportunity that Chamber A, B, C, and D in North County all do great work. And I highly encourage everybody to join a chamber. If you have a brick and mortar in the city of Vista, join Vista. Come out here, talk to Kent, to Rachel, and everybody else. Wherever your footprint's at, join that chamber, support the chamber. But then what I found in the digital experience that I was learning at that time, and I was already progressing into it, is I turn myself not as a photographer anymore. I turn myself as a visual marketer. And, it's working in a winery as well. The more images you have, the more attention you get. But why should we all be focused on just one city in North County? So there's 10 different cities in North County, from Poway, Escondido, the coastal 78 route, Del Mar, Solana Beach, and Encinitas. All these 10 different cities make up the same population as the city of San Diego. So the city of San Diego is 1.3 million. There's 3 million people living in San Diego as general. In North County, north of the 56 freeway, there's over 1 million people. So here you have the North County, north of Del Mar and north of Poway, 1 million people, and there's 10 different cities. Excuse me. So what I always get frustrated is that how is it possible one city of San Diego of 1 million plus people, one chamber of commerce, the San Diego Greater Chamber of Commerce, which is one of the largest one in the Southwest, does all this with one city, one mayor, and one chamber. Mm-hmm. In North County, guess what? It takes us 10 cities, 10 mayors, who knows how many city council members, but they all do the good job. Then you come to the business element. Now you have, I counted, if you go to my website there, I got a page called the Chamber and Business Associations on my St. North County website. I had listed there's 25 different business associations, let alone the networking groups. But yet nobody's combining this digitally. There's no footprint on what's North County. So everybody always says, well, is Poway North County? Is Escondido? And somebody told me Escondido wasn't North County. I was like, oh. Because what happens, some people that don't understand North County, they think of North County, they go, okay, Carlsbad, Oceanside. Sure. They forget there's a whole freaking inland part of it.
The east.
Exactly. So what I found that, these communities may never come together physically, economically, in whichever way, but digitally, can we do something?
Yeah.
So that's what my saying in North County is. It's a voice to represent North County as a collective voice digitally, equal to what San Diego. If you go to San Diego, downtown, PB, Mission Bay, Point Loma, there's an app or a website to do what's happening in San Diego. My saying in North County is the answer to North County's version of that. So we have 1 million people in North County, 10 different cities, and you don't know what to do because you have to go, okay, let me find out what's happening in North County. Well, let me go to the Vista page. Okay, check that off. Let me go to San Marcos page. Let me go to Carlsbad page.
Right.
It's like, you're just going to go to Google and see what's up.
Yeah.
Why can't we have one voice?
You're an amalgamation of all
right.
of
So that's what it is. So I'm not creating so much original content, although my digital and what I do is one thing. But let's share what the Star Theater is doing downtown La Jolla, Oceanside, the North County Rep in Solana Beach, the Poway Center of the Arts, Escondido Center of the Arts and the Poway Arts. Why can't we share that? Why can't we talk about the Apple Festival happening in Fallbrook? It's Julian. That's my touchy thing. If I go over to Julian and ask, are you North County? They go, we're not North County.
Okay. No, I think they're East County.
Well, there's somewhere you got to draw a border. But, if you look at it to be politically correct, I call it Northeast County.
Okay. Because that's where I'm from. So now I'm like, okay, hold on.
Exactly. Are you North County or not? So when I talk to the Julian Chamber of Commerce, I go, are you North County? No, we're backcountry.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
But anyway, so why can't we have one voice to talk about what's happening at Ramona? What's the concert venue in Ramona? Stage something?
I don't know.
It's right downtown Main Street.
It's a great place.
It's a concert venue, but, they're
main stage.
Yeah, main stage. But why can't somebody from Solana Beach go to Ramona?
Sure.
Well, somebody
from the belly up going to
exactly. Well, I'm pretty sure somebody from Solana Beach will go down to the sports arena or to downtown to see a venue of some sort.
Or to the casino.
Yeah. Exactly. Why not go to Main? What was it called again?
Main stage.
Main stage.
Yeah.
So that's what my St. North County is, basically a digital platform to bring people together.
Sure.
So, if we could bring all the business associations and chambers and networking groups and the visitor centers all be able to share their information on one platform, make it easy.
So this is all happening in San Diego.
North County.
Yeah. You're talking about community, and so this includes the Spanish-speaking community as well. So I think that you're also really involved in that and trying, it's part of where we are.
It is. I always joke, my mom, and she always mentioned this was back 70s, 80s when they're trying to create a Spanish, English only initiative on the ballot. It's like if that passed, you'd have to change all the names of the cities of San Diego.
Including San Diego.
Yeah. Vista's a Spanish word, Escondido's a Spanish word, La Jolla's a Spanish word. But anyways, the Spanish culture is deep. It was the first European settlement that happened in San Diego was a Spanish colony. The friars here at the mission. So, I'm really proud of my roots. I'll be honest with you. I didn't learn Spanish as a kid, so I didn't speak Spanish. But, once I got into college, I started learning more about my heritage. Just do what you can. And then now in the business side that I'm in, I spent a couple of years in Oceanside as a membership director, and Oceanside and Escondido and North County in general. There's, let's say, between 30 to 40% of the population Spanish or Latino or Hispanic, Latinx, whatever the buzzword is right now.
Yeah,
there's some Spanish influence in there. So we were trying to see how do we support Latino businesses.
That's what I want to know.
Chimichurri Kitchen Company, how it all began. Grandma Guillermina Nina created this sauce in her own restaurant kitchen in 1967, Santa Fe, Argentina, and it instantly became a hit with patrons. They exclaimed how garlicky, tangy, and just plain delicious her version was, and luckily, it continues to be to this day. At our Chimichurri Kitchen Company, we continue in the legacy of creating sauces that only add immense flavor to any dish. The traditional classic chimichurri Nina created is made fresh with the finest ingredients, but only gets better with time as the flavors bolden on the shelf and your refrigerator. That is the true beauty of chimi sauce, our little nickname for it. Try the classic or any of our other varieties of chimis created in our own Chimichurri Kitchen. Use it as a dip, cooking sauce, marinade, or steak sauce. It will add a pizzazz of flavor to just about any dish. This year, shop small and support local. Please visit our website, chimichurrikitchen.com, to purchase and change your culinary palate forever. You can also add us on Instagram and Facebook under Chimichurri Kitchen Company. Thank you so much for supporting local and small family-owned business.
The Same Business, Different Day podcast is brought to you by YourInsurancePlace.com. YourInsurancePlace.com is a conglomeration of two agencies, Network One Insurance and Bill Corley Insurance Agency. Their property and casualty agents and brokers specialize in commercial insurance of all types, general liability, workers' compensation, professional liability, auto, agribusiness, and much more. They also have great insurance carriers for your homes and autos. How do I know they are that good? Because I'm one of the agents. We believe in ourselves, and you will too. Contact us at yourinsuranceplace.com or call us direct at 866-384-0479. That's yourinsuranceplace.com.
Yeah, so I served on the board of the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Hispanic Chamber of Commerce is a great organization, nationally, statewide, in San Diego. But the problem is, everything's still focused in San Diego. We out here in North County always used to joke about that. We're the redhead freckled stepchild of San Diego because nobody really gives us love in North County because we don't have this big block of people. It's all little pockets. Where San Diego, and you're talking 1 million people. I mean, you live in Chula Vista, you still think you're San Diego. National City still San Diego, but Vista, that's not San Diego, is it?
Right.
So anyways, there's a lot of Latino out here. So the Latino element in North County is different than the San Diego Latino market. So people don't understand that unless you're on the inside. Is you go down to a Costco in Chula Vista and you go to a Costco over here and you look at the Latinos, different type of demographics.
Absolutely.
So it's understanding that. But then you have the business owners here is how do you reach out to them? How do you sell them insurance? How do you sell them payroll services? How do you sell them, product and services like that? Well, they like to work with people they know, like, and trust.
Right.
Not so much different than what we do in the regular thing, but they're a little bit more niche because they like to work in their community. So how do we support them? So that's been one of my things I do. So, not only do I support bringing North County together, but how do you support, Latino businesses? So.
And you can bring them together as well. You can bring them, together with the other communities as well.
Right, exactly. And, this My San Diego North County is just the first step of this whole brand. I mean, because there's so many other opportunities
First step.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us about the future, Dave.
Oh, yeah, well.
He got shy. Did you see him get shy?
I'll tell you. Well, here's a funny thing. There's so many different communities. The whole idea is bring people together.
Absolutely.
You see that common theme of what I'm doing.
Listen, I mean, I got to say, you invited me to a Latino chamber meeting.
Well, that's right.
And I was happy to sit in on that. Right. You had no idea that I spoke Spanish. Nobody knows that I speak Spanish, and I won't be speaking it anytime soon.
Come on. A ver, escúchame en español. ¿Cómo está el español?
No time soon. Yeah, but
we'll have to do a podcast in Spanish.
We can. That would be fun.
We should.
Actually,
I got put on the spot in Spanish.
Yeah. But so and I was happy that you brought me there. So, and that's what I mean about bringing the communities together, right? Because you took us there and said it doesn't matter if you speak Spanish or not, just come be a part of this. Right. What was it? Coffee? It was a cafe.
Yeah, we call it cafecito.
Cafecito.
So I started this little idea back when I was at Oceanside Chamber. It's like, the Hispanic population may not be the person that want to come and join, a government affairs committee at the chamber or go to City Hall or something like that. But we're changing. I mean, Consuelo over here in Escondido has done some good changes to the Hispanic market in Escondido. But, let's go, instead of trying to get people to come to us, we're on the soapbox. Hey, it's all about me. Come here. I go, you have to get off that soapbox.
Sure.
You got to go to where people are at.
Yeah.
So that's what I did. I went to a San Leray Bakery. Great little place. If you ever been down in Oceanside, right there next to the Mission on El Camino Real, it's a little mom and pop bakery shop. It's a French bakery and Mexican bread, muffins, cakes, and a great little restaurant. So we started meeting there on a monthly basis, and we're just inviting everybody. It doesn't matter if you speak Spanish or not. I mean, my good friend Lori Booty, which is now the executive director at Vance Veterans Association in North County, she would join us. One of good friends, a mortgage broker from Team Souther, they would join with, and not Latino whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But so, it's not a matter, you got to do this Latino thing. No, it's bringing people together.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a matter of speaking Spanish. So yeah, I totally forgot. And I remember you did talk about Spanish, but we could speak Spanish or we can't. Doesn't matter. It's just about, we're all got one language, is business.
That's right.
How do we support each other?
Yeah, and we need that support.
Everybody still has to have a sale. Everybody still needs to have some type of transaction. Everybody still has to have a bank account. Somebody still is paying taxes and all that stuff. It's all the same language. It's just a matter of let's help each other out.
Te voy a escuchar nomás.
A ver.
Marketing. I mean, you obviously got a background in.
I know.
You this is what this business is all about. I mean, and you are doing it very well. So you're taking the photography and marketing with that, obviously, right? You get these images, but then you've got to be able to constantly post and get in people's faces with it, right?
Well, it's visual marketing.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's a buzzword.
And it's important, right? I mean, because it's the world today, right? It's where we are, and you're on the cutting edge of it.
Right. Well, it goes back to my joke's always been it's not ADHD compliant.
Okay.
We know what ADA compliant about handicap and disabled parking. Well, I always call it ADHD compliant. Mm-hmm. It's like when I'm on a mobile device or on a computer, if I got to read a paragraph of text, guess what? It ain't happening. My mind doesn't work that way.
Okay.
Show me a video, show me an image, I'll make that sale. Yeah. So that's where I transitioned from being this photographer, being really feeling really proud of what I did and the services I provided. Now you transition that into a digital world. Well, what was happening for a while when digital first happened is like people were hiring me for photography, and then they just lay the images and they never do anything with it, or they didn't know what to do. I go, well, let me be that person that could actually help manage the digital marketing, being visual, being social, being web, being email marketing, what have you. But let me also provide the photography element to it. So you're getting a 2-for-1 when you use me. So that's why My San Diego North County is this platform, as we talked about, but it's also a marketing, I call it marketing subscription based.
Now you're meeting with these businesses face to face. You get to see them and their inner workings and everything, but you also see their complications, right? The difficulties that they're having, whether it's in these particular times or just businesses in general. What are like some of the common complications you see, or the things that you hear them saying, like, oh, David, I can't because of this or that, or I'm having so much trouble with this. Like, what are the common complications?
Well, what I've seen, being the experience that I have in the circle of influence, the services that your company provides and, my other friends and what's that, is like, I could walk into a business and I know a little bit about enough, and I could talk to them and go, how's your payroll services? How's your cleaning, your industrial cleaning, all these different products? How's your marketing? How's your web? How's your social media? How's your Google Analytics happening? How's your reputation management happening? So I go in there and I can analyze that, and I can see where the pitfalls are at, or if they're being overcharged, because the biggest problem is people just love to pay money sometimes and really not understand, am I getting my value off it? Because it's too much trouble to go do comparison, to shop, right?
Yeah, right.
You could have the best product in the world, and this customer is very satisfied being overcharged on a product that you could probably provide better service at a lower cost.
Yeah.
And it's like just frustrates you so many times, but that's where the relationship building happens.
Yeah.
So, I've been fortunate to partner up with a lot of great people, that I could help them out. So, we got a story, Aaron, the company he works for is Hunger. It's basically a food delivery system like, Uber Eats and Postmates, things like that. It's a local based company. Mm-hmm. And, the business model of what Uber and those guys do, it is what it is. But if you could have somebody that provides the same service at a lower cost, why not?
Sure.
And somebody that I feel comfortable enough to recommend. The same thing when it comes, Storm was just here, merchant processing.
Yeah.
Same thing, you know. It's the same product. I always tell people, you go to a gas station, you got a choice of Chevron, Arco, or mom and pop. Is anything different in the gas? If you're just using regular, I'm not talking high performance stuff, right? It's the same gas. Well, wouldn't you want to go help out your friend if he owned the gas station? So that's what we're doing, you know. If I could refer somebody to a client of mine or a relationship I have and the same product service, they go help out a friend.
Yeah.
Go help out somebody here that's actually giving back to the community. So that's what I ask of people.
I like that.
I go in there to the business and really like, you know, recently we just had lunch at a new restaurant called Four Tunas in Escondido. A great little story. Husband and wife used to own a food truck, and a long story in how they ended up in this restaurant. They had those challenges. They had an accident in their food truck. So I go in there and I helped them out, and I got them involved with the Escondido Chamber. And then I showed up one day. I go, let me take some pictures. Hey, social media's not good. Hey, I'll tell you what, I'm sitting down here, got nothing else. Let me set up your Facebook page. So within half an hour, I got on a Facebook page. In 2 days, they had 100 likes, and now they got like probably half a dozen plus reviews on Yelp. They're only 2 weeks old.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I saw that too,
Yeah,
and I've been wanting to go over there too.
I just had lunch there. They had an octopus taco.
Yeah,
and
see,
Wow.
that's what I'm into. That
Smoked
fresh
tuna.
seafood. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. See, I'm a meat guy, so it's kind of hard for me. So just like we were talking about this wine, I love the concept of the wineries in North County, the brewers in North County, but like I could tell you where all the Dairy Queens and 31 flavors are at first. You know,
I wish all I knew about wine was the concept.
No, you
of
don't.
wine.
You're very happy with what you know.
I know more than the concept.
The Ramona Valley Winery tasting rooms have been closed again due to the new stay-at-home order in effect. Wineries will be opening for bottle-to-go sales only. You can find specific winery information on rvva.org. Shop small this holiday season and give the gift of wine, a gift that will make sure to not go to waste. Please help support our local wineries get through this difficult time and stock up on wine for the holidays. Visit rvva.org for more information and follow the RVVA on social media at Ramona Valley Vineyards. The San Diego craft beer industry has proven to be incredibly resilient. Regardless of tier, they're following all guidelines to ensure the safety of their loyal customers and staff. They want you to feel safe coming out and enjoying a beer or picking up growlers to go. Breweries are open and welcoming guests into a sense of normalcy through a great craft brew. While resilient, the beer industry isn't immune to the effects of service limitations and decreased foot traffic. They need your help to stay open and continue serving the craft beer they're famous for. If you're looking for ways to support your favorite local brewery merchandise, canned beers, or growlers and gift cards are wonderful gifts that also give back to the breweries. And who doesn't need some extra beer around the holidays?
well, I found out wine's probably a better deal for me. I'm trying to learn wine because, you know, if I go to Olive Garden, that damn lemonade that they have is so freaking awesome.
Sugar.
I mean, I'm doing 2-3 refills on that stuff.
Yeah.
So if I could put that aside and drink wine, well, you're not going to drink, you know, two big gulps of wine.
Yeah.
Well, you shouldn't.
Yeah, you'll be rolling out. So that's my thing. There's some more health benefits to it, but you know, the whole idea is I've just been as healthy as I can. You know, I drink at least a couple liters of water a day. I still have
Good
that
for you.
sweet tooth. You know.
Good for you.
Well,
You take care of yourself. And you're hiking
Yeah.
a lot. I see you. I see you out there.
Well, you be active. I mean, I serve on the board of the American Heart Association.
Good.
So I support them wholeheartedly, and you know, we got to be active out there in the community.
Sure.
You know, I always tell people, you know, just take a couple extra steps. You know, you go to the Costco, park at the furthest parking spot, and just walk it in.
I told you. He's moving around.
Yeah.
American Heart Association. He
Is
just threw that in there. Right? Listen, networking. That's how we met.
Yeah, exactly.
Networking, and I'm interested in your thoughts on networking. Like, you know, how do you approach it? What do you believe about it? What do you think about the process of networking, and how has it worked out for you?
Well, I enjoy it. I mean, I actually the bad thing about it is I don't go into networking seeing how much money I can make.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's good. Again, going back to our scenario, it's very good that you have that heart. It's very bad for the bank account.
But you're not going to just go in and cash checks at a networking
Exactly.
event.
What I loved about this, and the Chamber of Commerce are good ideas of happy hours or mixers or you know things like that, is I always tell people, how many people go up to a mixer, a business association mixer or whatever, how many people walk out of their office or their room or their home to go to this mixer with the whole intention, I want to buy insurance.
Right.
Or I want to buy XYZ. So why are we as participants in that mixer, in that networking group, trying to sell somebody something when they didn't come to shop it?
Mm-hmm.
So going back on all that layers, to me, networking is all about building relationships. Mm-hmm. The best thing anybody could ever do in a networking event is don't talk to somebody you already know. That's the secret. If you see somebody that you could tell they're newbie. I remember this with the Carlsbad Chamber. We're at My Yard House, I think it's called the
Yard
Yard
House.
House
Yeah.
down at the El Camino. And I was in there. I'm ambassador with the Carlsbad Chamber. And you see people all talking. And I came in here to this networking thing. It's like my approach when I go to networking thing is, I could talk to these friends anytime I want. There's this one individual staying all by himself, like really timid and shy, because we've all been there the first time we were going to a networking event. Like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I saw this individual, and instead of me go talking to my friends, I went to talk to the person that's uncomfortable, didn't know what was happening.
Yeah.
And a relationship was built.
Good.
Now if we just do that with every single event, that'd be ultimate networking.
Oh, if we just did that in the world.
Yeah, exactly. So right. We wouldn't have all this war and all this other stuff that goes on. But to me, networking is king. I mean, I love networking. Some people, you get what you put into it.
Mm-hmm.
I always tell people, joining any type of trade group of whatsoever, it's like a gym membership. You go to LA Fitness or 24-hour Fitness, you could pay $30-$40 a month, let's say, or get whatever it is. If you don't show up, guess what? Nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
You join a Chamber of Commerce for $300-$400 a year. You don't show up, you're not getting anything out of it.
Yeah.
So
I also think there's this pride that comes from networking with your community. I mean, you're learning people that also work maybe next door, right? And so you're becoming proud of where you live because you're getting to know all the people there. You want to be a part of it.
Right.
And so it's really nice to learn, meet someone that's working next door, trying just as hard as you are. Let's work together, make it happen,
Right.
and make people come and enjoy our community.
Well, the best thing that I like to do in networking, helping out those new people, is also, if I met Zeke at an event and I find out what he does for a living, and then I go, okay. It's like I was a stay-home dad raising my 4 daughters, and do you guys remember that little memory game if you have kids? You have all these cards and you have to flip them upside down and see what the pairs are.
Absolutely.
That to me is networking. So you go to network, and I met Zeke, and he's okay. I do this XYZ services. So then throughout the night, I'm talking, and somebody goes, "Hey, I need that type of services." Now you just put that match together.
That's right.
So it's a little mind game, It's just like, okay, how do I find A and B and put them together?
I like that.
And like I said, it doesn't mean anything to me directly financially, but down the road, we hope that reciprocates.
Right.
What's it? It's a BNI. Their motto is givers gain. If anybody's ever been to a networking group, BNI, the more you give, the more you gain. So you make as many deposits to the bank. One day you'll do a withdrawal.
Yeah, no, right? I like that. I like that a lot. I like the memory game analogy.
Yeah,
that was beautiful.
That's exactly it. It's just so what I used to do when I was at Oceanside Chamber. My idea was when we did a networking thing at the end of the night, we challenged. Okay, can you name everybody in the room and what they do for a living?
Mm-hmm.
It's a little mind game. If you could pull that off, now you're that much better on top of it.
You ready for my trick?
Okay.
Well, can you? Are you good at that? Naming everybody in the room and what they do?
Well, in a roundtable format, not at the sparkling, but usually I'm good.
Yeah, that's awesome.
You
drink less than me, but I can give you the trick.
Well, no. Well, okay. Well, so it's a visual thing. I can remember the face. And I can remember the industry. I can't remember their name.
That's a lot of folks.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to tell you how to remember
trick.
their name.
Okay.
Spell it to them. Every time someone tells you their name,
Right.
spell it to them. Because now you have said it twice.
Right.
A lot of things, you went to school and note taking, it's all about having something go through your mind twice, at
Right.
least twice. Right. If you spell it back to them, then you can have a back and forth. No, it's not spelled ALYSSA. It's spelled ALICIA, whatever it is, right?
Right.
And so now we're really repeating.
Right.
You're not going to forget. You know what I'm saying?
That's a good one.
And in sales, and not saying you're the super salesperson, but if we're talking about sales, if you don't know your prospects, your client's name, it will probably be a very short relationship.
Right. That's a tough one. See, and going back to my ADHD and my memory is just like, that's one of my biggest weaknesses.
Oh, well, you're a math whiz. I wasn't a math whiz. I spell. Let's go back to school.
Let's back to school. All right. So what we do here is we think about, how many people go to school to learn business, get a master's in it. You learn all these techniques and spend, money, so much money, and they aren't getting something from it. But so essentially we talk about what happens when you take the classroom and put it in the real world. And so my question for you today is sort of more of a general question of going to school. Worth it? Is it? In my opinion, it is, no matter what you're going to school for, but how well does it apply? How much are you learning from that? Is it important should you go get real world experience first, or, what are your thoughts here?
Well, to me, it's all about your personality.
Okay.
I mean, it comes down to that. I sucked at school. I mean, I got out of high school with a C average. And I graduated when I finally finished my bachelor's degree. I probably had the average student uses around 120 unit credits to graduate from college. I probably had 250 because ADHD kicks in, and I found out my secret was being 16 weeks in a class just sucks for me. I just can't do it. So I was in school. So I went to a junior college, and then I was working at Bisco nights. I was graveyard. And, guess what? The business side got out of me. It's like, I don't need to go to school. I did love working the photography in the school, but it wasn't a necessity. And in almost all my careers, I never needed my degree. Like I said, I was a vice president of the bank, and I never needed a degree. The degree is something that's nice, but here it is. It's something I always wanted. My biggest thing I ever wanted in my life was to have a master's degree. But there's this one damn thing that got in my way. It was called a bachelor's.
Step one before you get to step two.
I want the candy at the end. I go to a restaurant, I'll eat dessert first,
Yeah, okay.
So it took me forever. So when I graduated with my bachelor's, I was way into it. Probably so many schools, so many transfers and everything else. But going back to what you're saying, school's important. My daughter just graduated from university, and I encourage everybody to go to school.
Right.
Unless you got a nice paycheck coming out and you got this skill set, or this artistic talent is something that could be lucrative, follow your dreams. But if you don't know what you're doing, and you're really trying to get some foundation and make yourself more marketable, that degree of college, being a bachelor's or a master's, is just another feather in your hat. And the best thing about anything you do in education, no matter what you fail or what you succeed in life or challenges you have, nobody's ever going to take that away from you. It's something that it's like having a kid. It's going to be your kid for life. You go and get a degree. So that's why I wanted a bachelor's or my master's, because I wanted something that I know is mine. And I could fail or succeed, but I still have my master's degree.
Beautiful.
I love that.
Yeah.
Congratulations. That was great. You like that?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Well, education to me is just the most important thing.
Well, you're a teacher.
But I love it. I love the process of learning. I love learning more.
Yeah.
Any chance I get to learn, I'm going to go for it. And so just the idea of you own it.
Exactly. And that's what it is. But, going back to the opposite side of it, degree is important. And like I said, there's certain things that you may not need a degree, but nobody's going to ever take that away from you. But now let's go the opposite side. To be a sales rep, do you need a degree? No, you need personality. You need that skill set, to be a manager at a grocery store or a checker at a grocery store. Do you need a degree? No. I have plenty of friends that work their way through, let's say, working at Bonds. And when they graduated from college, I'm talking back in the 80s, they couldn't find a job that was paying them as much as they were getting paid working for the union at the grocery store.
Sure.
It was like, okay, what's up with that? Now, again, if you're going to be a CPA or a lawyer, you got to go to school. You got to be a doctor. My other daughter wants to be a doctor, so she's at UCSD.
Beautiful.
You can't get away from that. There's some things that you can't avoid school. Right. Being a surgeon, you can't.
Please go to school.
Go to school.
But being a painter, being an artist, look at being in the financial industry. You have to have some type of certification. So being a photographer, you don't. It's different realms. I know a lot of people in the circle of photography that are six-figure incomes and they don't have a degree. Because it was a necessity in photography. Sure. How many record artists that that don't have degrees? I get probably a majority of them, I would assume.
Who knows? We're not asking.
Yeah.
Right? We're not checking resumes on the artists.
Exactly.
Right. So, but I think that's awesome. I think that's important that we promote that. But there's further education and they know things that we don't know.
Oh, of course. Right?
So there's further education in all of this, across the board. And as long as you continue to learn, you can be great.
Yeah, if you're not learning, you're dying.
I heard that. Tell me a little bit about the COVID effect. I know in all of these cities, since you travel around all of these cities and you survey, and I'm not just necessarily talking about the folks that have gone out of business. I'm sure you've seen plenty of that, but you've probably also seen how maybe the community has stepped up or the city has stepped up. So the community steps up to support these local businesses, right? Or the city steps up to say, you are allowed to use the sidewalks, the streets, or whatever to try to keep your businesses open. So I know that there are struggles, but then there are also some highlights as well. And maybe you can tell us a little bit about both.
Well, yeah. COVID's been this nasty thing that we just can't avoid, of course. And the whole key word right here during COVID to me is pivot. You know, you gotta recreate yourself somehow.
I keep hearing that word.
Unless you're selling plexiglass, you know, if you're selling plexiglass, you're in a good business, you know. Or, but even PPE product, it's so competitive, right? And shortage. But you know, when it comes to the businesses, I mean, people are going to succeed or fail. It's a tough call. I mean, a couple of businesses. I just spoke with a business this past week. They're actually up 20% because they're getting a lot of love. You know, well, and it was a restaurant. So look at outdoor dining. I think Vista's doing it. You know, Escondido on Grand Avenue closed off a whole lane of street and put barriers on there, and they're sitting on the street.
I saw that. That was amazing.
It's fantastic, and some of those restaurants are doing good because you know during COVID restrictions at 25% capacity. I mean, okay, they got 4 tables they can seat. I mean, you can't make a living off of that.
Yeah.
You know, and especially, I mean, look at, I think, what's Little Miss Brewery in Escondido. They got kegs out in the parking lot, so they're allowed to do liquor outside. They couldn't do that non-COVID.
Yeah.
Just really wondered if
they're about to be New Orleans soon.
Walk around for hurricane, right? Or Vegas, right?
Yeah.
But, you know, so the restaurants, you know, it's hit and miss. I mean, I got a restaurant that I'm going to go visit next week because I got to give them some love. They're right now they're fighting on how they're going to take care of their investors that opened up the restaurant with them. It's like, okay, I feel
What's
for
the
them.
restaurant?
This one's called Baps down in Escondido.
All right. Well, we get him on the podcast. We'll give
go.
him some love.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll go over there with you.
Exactly. And then look at the wineries that aren't open because they just, you know, that whole, and I don't know the rules about food and no food if you're a liquor or wine or you're a brewery, what you can and can't do. And so now all these breweries are bringing food trucks in because as long as they got food, they could serve, right? But you know, there's only so much you could do for to go. So it's been struggle. I mean, look at the food delivery system, you know, talking about hunger. I mean, I only assume that, you know, business is a lot better for delivery, takeout services. But you got the other businesses that are just hurting. I mean, I'm one of those. I mean, when COVID happened, I had like, you know, a bunch of dollars in contracts that just died. You know, I had a good contract with the city of Escondido and they pulled the plug because of COVID.
Wow.
You know, so it was hurt me that way. So you just recreate yourself where you can. And now I'm finally digging out of that hole. But it's been tough. I mean, I got stories all over the place. And, you know, the real estate market, depending on where your market is, you know, and but what's the thing, you know, regardless of COVID or not, when business starts dying, what's the first thing a business does is cuts their marketing.
Yeah.
And that's the worst thing to do for anybody.
Yeah.
You know, you got to keep on investing. You might be front of mind, be it digital, be in print, be in whatever, get involved with your chambers at whatever level they can, your business associations, is just keep on networking, keep on being front of mind.
You
That's
have
the
to
secret.
keep marketing. Do
You
not
know?
cut off your nose.
Yeah, you just
spite
can't go
your face.
hide underneath a rock because of COVID happened. You know?
I mean, yeah, it's only going to get worse
Exactly.
if that's what you do.
Yeah.
Mantra.
And I think this mantra really applies to what we're talking about right here. So what we do is Zeke has these business or sales mantras, words to live by in order to be successful. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to read this to you and ask your thoughts, if you agree, disagree, how it applies to what you do. So here we go. Being out of touch with where you are is just as detrimental to a business as being out of touch with the time.
Of course. Yeah, you got to know where you're at. Right, especially in business, you have to know where your market's doing. I mean, I always think, what's persona? You got to know who your ideal market is. As long as you know where they're doing and where they're going and you're following them, I mean, you got some opportunities. You walk away from that and don't know who your market is, well, you're just throwing darts and hope something hits.
That's how I play darts.
With a glass of wine in the hand?
I thought that would be a really good one for you, too, because of how you are when it comes to community.
Right.
You are really about the location when it comes to it. And if you don't understand where you are or the history of the place that you're working with, how do you expect the businesses to appreciate you?
Right.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, I love when you talk to a business, and I mean, I do these video interviews, just Joe on the street or a business owner on the street. And my whole thing is, you know, everybody knows what a restaurant does. They prepare food and they sit down or take out and here's your food. But you know, the biggest question, and even in your industry, right? Everybody they selected the industry that they're in, you know, what you're doing, what you do at the wineries. Why do you do it? You know, the biggest question to me when I interview somebody is, who are you? But more importantly, why do you do what you do? Because once you find out the why, then you know how real that person is. If they're just, I'm just doing it because I need to make a buck. Okay.
Yeah.
There's no heart in it. What's that movie about? You got heart. You know, Keanu Reeves and George something is a football game, you know, at the very end. Well, you got heart, you know. Okay. And that's what it is. It's about heart. Yeah. That's why I like.
Teach your younger self a lesson. I like what you said earlier about education. Obviously, that's super important. But are there any lessons that you would teach to your younger self?
Buy Apple stock and and what's Qualcomm,
Right.
But no, I mean, you live and learn.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was fortunate. I did mention, my sister's been a mentor to me, and she's a single parent family, and she stepped up and did a lot for me. But she's very conservative, and she's very successful. She's retired now and financially stable. And then you got the opposite, somebody that just is disregard to financial security, lives off the seat of his pants, and see where that direction goes. So that's two different paths, extreme paths on how people go. Somebody very conservative, very financially conservative, and they're successful in that sense. And then you got the ones that just fly off the seat of the pants. Is how do you find that balance between the two? Mm-hmm. I think it's a full circle, depending on where you're at and how you could control your mindset. Is like, I was really creative, as a photographer. I mean, you don't have any stability in life. When I ended up working at the bank only because I went skiing after a photo shoot, and I hurt myself, and I came back and I go, God, I need health insurance. So I call it one
after
of my,
the fact.
Exactly. I call it one of my clients. I go, hey, I think it's time for me to get a regular job, and that's how I ended up at the bank.
Oh,
but I did a full circle. So here you got a little, flying off the cuff, and I ended up being very successful in the conservative environment of a banking world. So I ended up coming full circle and got back and almost caught up to that conservative mindset. But
good.
It's just, you got to live with your heart. But the biggest thing is respect. Respect who you are, respect the people around you, and don't be a jerk.
I heard that, man.
There's no reason for you to be a jerk to anybody.
Good for you.
Love life and live life.
Oh, man. Young David is appreciating all of that information right there. Tell us a little bit more, if anything else you got to say as we wind it down about your business.
Oh, no. Well, this is all about, I invite people to follow. I mean, I'm on social media all over the place. Mm-hmm. I try to do it daily as I can, but, go out there and share love. If you need to get a hold of me, if you have a business, if you have a message to deliver and you want an audience of what I think I mentioned, I'm up to 13,000 followers collectively. It's not a whole lot, but I mean, it's impactful. How can I get that message across? So, well, come and join me. Mm-hmm. Again, it's a simple subscription model, what I do, but, the whole idea, regardless of the monetary side, is we want to give, we want to share. If you're struggling in business and you need help, reach out. I mean, I'm lucky that I have all this investment in photography and video gear. I can do almost anything I want, but you keep it simple, keep it organic. But the whole idea is be real. So, I mean, my San Diego North County, I ask people to support me. Either be part of the subscription base, but more importantly, at least follow. Mm-hmm. If you need help in any which way, we got group pages in North County about restaurants, about nonprofits, about senior resources. That's where we're at. Just come out there and support. And like I said, I want to help out somebody, and hopefully at that end result will come out to grow this business to be as large as I can, and then the other phases will roll out. And you come out here and be successful, and then you walk away from it as you retire and go, yeah, my San Diego North County, I did that. Yeah. Made a difference in the world. Brought people an opportunity to be successful. And it's not about me, but it's about the platform putting it together.
That's what I appreciate. When we talk about our business, our podcast, Same Business, Different Day, we talk about how important it is to inspire these entrepreneurs and the people who might even already own businesses. What we're talking about with you is somebody who has developed something that came from his natural abilities and came from his heart. Okay? You have a business that is going to inspire folks who have a dream. All right? So that's why we're happy about having you as a guest today. So thank you, David,
no problem.
for being here
Yeah,
today. Let's get into some contact info.
If you would like to contact David Zumaya and My San Diego North County, you can find them at their website, mysdnc.com. David's on Facebook at My San Diego North County. He's on Instagram and Twitter at My San Diego NC, and on YouTube, My San Diego North County.
Good, thank you.
Thank you, David.
Thanks for being here.
I appreciate it. I love what you guys do. I'm jealous as heck because I love podcasts. So
beautiful.
We gotta share the love,
Come back and visit us again.
Yeah, we'd love to have you.
All right.
All right.
I'll be here tomorrow.
All right. You're here. Let's do it.
Thank you for tuning in to Same Business, Different Day podcast. A special thanks to StarFox Media on video production and James Russell on music production. Please like and subscribe the Same Business, Different Day podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Don't forget to leave us a nice review. Tune in next week for an exciting all-new episode.